Yo, what's up everyone, Zyga here, WW here. I'm a filmmaker and basically I'm giving you guys my insight on writing scripts, how to beat writer's block, how to write a really good script, and how to be able to compete in a time with AI as well, how to get around that, and even using AI to your advantage too in different ways. I'm gonna break it all down in this video, give you guys some tips, some pointers, and backstory on myself. I produce, self-produced 7-8 different films, feature films, and I wrote most of my films, and so I love to write and direct. And essentially the process is, I'll give you my first film that I ever made. First film I ever made was called Gems, and I'm still doing some final touches to that film because I want to do a few things because the first time I made it, I kind of didn't have the time to put as much time as I wanted to into it, so I am re-releasing it and it is coming out, so stay tuned for that. But basically I wrote that script in like 2 weeks, and it was a short film, but it was 17 pages, and basically I would say the actual time of actually spending writing that script was about maybe like 2 or 3 days worth of, at least about, I would say maybe 20 hours worth of time writing the script. My other film that I made, which is called Memories, it originally was a feature film, but I made it into a short film. That script was about 60 pages long, and I actually wrote that in 3 days. So I wrote the whole script in 3 days, and it was a very fun script. Love the script, and it definitely, how you can write a script in that type, that time frame and actually make it interesting is inspiration. So I write in my own place here. You can see all the different decorations and whatnot, and basically what I would do is I would tune in. So I would just put on something in the background. I know some people, everyone has their own style when they're writing, but I actually prefer whatever I'm writing about. I like to submerge myself in that environment so I get inspiration so I can write. For example, I just wrote this movie that is like a very dark movie. It's actually the darkest movie I've written so far, and that script is actually 30 pages long, just 30 pages, and but it's actually a feature-length script. And I say this because you don't have to abide. You can. They always say that a page is like 1 page of a script is like a minute of film time. So a lot of people write 120-page script for like a 2-hour film, or 90-page script, whatever. But honestly, with the script, you can actually use that as a way, as a guideline for your film, and you can have more fluidity with your filmmaking, especially if you're the director, writer, and the producer of it. You have this flexibility. If you're doing and writing a script for someone else, then you won't have so much freedom, and I will have some tips for that later on in this video. But essentially, since if you write direct like I do and produce your own film, essentially you create a guideline. You create a guideline of what your film is about, and you can, if as long as you have a beginning, middle, and an end, you can fill in the remaining spots with improv, things that align with your story, and you can build it out. I've actually shot an entire movie that's completely improv, and you will see it in due time, and it's a great movie. But I also did a script where it was just bullet points, and we went with the bullet points. You could call that being lazy with it, but no, honestly, when you know what you know, and you know what kind of vision that you want to get from it, then if you're able to convey that to the actors, let them know what the film's about and whatnot, and then you're able to achieve the goals of the script, that's the key right there. So that's basically the key to get it done really well. But essentially, when you're writing your script, you want to surround yourself by things that can help you with that process. So when I wrote my scary, creepy film that I just wrote, it's only 30 pages long, but I surrounded myself with a lot of dark imagery. I watched scary movies, had like some really crazy music playing in the background. I had just all kinds of things that were similar to what the story is about, just playing around me. And it was like, it really put you in the zone, and it allowed me to write very quickly and produce some of the craziest stuff that I've ever even seen in film. I haven't seen this before in film, and it's very wild. And I actually showed the script to people that are very much they're into a lot of crazy movies and stuff like that, and they even say that it's crazy. So but I say all that to say that when you're writing the script, surround yourself by things that inspire you. Of course, ask for help too. There's certain instances that I got stuck on my last film, on my film Memories, and friends helped me with different areas, like how to achieve certain parts to keep the script moving, which is always great. You know, a key with writing a script is that you want it to be, think of a script. So this is the biggest key when you write a script. This is the secret sauce right here. And it may seem like obvious too, but really this is the key with writing a good script, is that you want to write it in a way where the person who's reading it is like a trailer. So your whole script is like a trailer. You're teasing the person that's reading it. So you don't want to give away everything all at once. You want it to kind of, you know, imagine yourself dropping into random places in your story, and you want to be there to be a surprise. So as the person's reading, they're being surprised as they're reading it. And you know, you don't want to be predictable. It's kind of like what Christopher Nolan says. A lot of people can't understand his movies, but he says that you want to be like ahead of the audience. You want to be ahead of the viewer, ahead of the reader, and you don't want to be where the audience is with you. So you don't want the audience to be there with you, because then they know what to expect, and it's predictable, and you want to be ahead of the, so that's why a lot of people say his movies are confusing, because he's so far ahead that you can't understand right as you're watching it, and then when you go back, then things make sense, which is great. But so essentially what you want to do is you're going to want to write your script in a way where you're pulling in your reader, where every scene that you're writing, it makes them want to read to the next part, and you're constantly revealing certain things. In dialogue, when you're doing dialogue, jump ahead in different places, you know, so in terms of like, you know, instead of like a nice, easy flowing conversation, like, hey, for example, like, hi honey, how's your day been? And she's like, you know, like, why were you with Cassandra? She'll respond like that, you know, out of nowhere. So yeah, it's like, how was her day? And she's like, why were you with Cassandra or something? And he's like, who's Cassandra? No. But, you know, essentially you want to do the unexpected with dialogue, where, you know, it's just from one great piece of information to the next, you know, it kind of moves in that way. So that's one writing tip right there that can help with writing. And essentially you can write your script. And the key with writing a script for film is we always have big ideas for movies and everything. We want to get so many big things out there. The key is to actually write to your budget. So write to locations that you know you can get, write to things that you know you can shoot, write to things that you know you can afford. And so then that makes the whole process a lot easier when you're writing. So when you get a finished script, then you know, like, okay, this is what I can really do and I can achieve. Sometimes we write things that are just so outlandish, like a whole hospital or something like that. And we're like, how are we going to do that realistically? So, you know, you want to write to exactly what you can achieve. And another big tip is, you know, AI, of course. Now, you know, you can literally probably make a whole script. I haven't done it before, but you can actually probably make a whole script with AI. You tell it what kind of script you want to write. The one thing about AI is it can, you know, create things on the spot, you know, but you want to always add that human touch to it, and that human intuition is, you know, everyone thinks differently, and AI only can think as great as like one of our smartest people, but even our smartest person doesn't know like how someone else would think. You know, someone thinks differently than someone else, you know, so essentially, even though AI is very powerful, you can still have that human touch. So I would even say, like, if you have an idea, you can put it into AI if you want to, and you can let it come out with, you know, a structure for a story, and you go back through that and you add your own human touch to it to touch it up. And that's one way you can save some time if you're on a deadline, if you have to, you know, if you're obligated to do a big script, you can do that, and that can help you in that instance. But in terms of, you know, AI replacing, you know, script writers and stuff like that in the future, you know, like I said, there always will be a need for a human touch in some form or way. And, you know, as creatives, we just got to keep our feet on the gas pedal and keep pushing forward, and keep creating content and keep creating, you know, great works of art. But no, yeah, I just want to give a little video on like writing tips for making movies. If you guys appreciate this video, definitely go check out my film. It's called Memories. It's on the channel. It's the film that I said I wrote in 3 days, and it's a really fun film. It was originally a feature film, but I made it into a short film, so everything you see is not everything that was in the script, but I did make it work for the story that I wanted to ultimately tell. And so yes, definitely check it out. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about that. I'm Zyga, WW here. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.